Hi, this is really natural. You could probably hear a train just coming to the station. Welcome back to Natural Flows with Studios, where therapy is the process. My eyes not closed because I'm looking straight at the camera. I'm looking down at the controls. Um, Welcome back to Natural Flows with Studios, where therapy is the process. My name is Lavinia Dier, and this is my atelier. I'm going to do a bit of a long chat today. Um, I'm really happy when I get to attend support calls as a certified brain health professional. I studied at Amon University. It was a really good call today and really great information. Thank you, support team at Amon University. If you do get to take the course, these are one of the type of meetings that you would attend um, during taking the course and after. They're really helpful and very supportive. Please excuse any background noise because what's happened is I've got my back doors open. It's a really sunny day in the UK today, and so I'm still sitting in the same position, having rested and had some yogurt because I was absolutely starving. And of course, I was being naughty, eating chocolate cones and things like that. This is what it's like to done the course and still be struggling with issues. Nothing's perfect, and that's brain health for you. So, but do have the effort to try, and I do. Um, so it's a bit of a combination video today. So I'm so grateful to everybody. Thank you, for Amon University, and everybody who took the call, and guests, and people who asked really great questions, which are really helpful. So with that said, I have thankfully been doing a lot of art, and I have been uploading to my Behance account. As an artist, I have worked at Saatchi Art, Behance, and just a few pieces over at Deviant Art. I because I have all this. Today I was uploading my updating. Sorry, my LinkedIn account. Look, sometimes you can only be who you are, where you and how you are, where you're at, and even though I have managed to gain qualifications, I am not the most. I'm not anywhere near being a corporate person. I could put on a bit of slap and make a suit and put it together. But just at this point in time, I'm just keeping it real. So people come to look at who I am and how I am, you're going to get the real deal. This is natural, as natural as I can be at present. Um, I'm really grateful for anybody who wants to get in touch with me about my art. And if you have a genuine offer, thank you. I just have had some challenges with putting up work and for some reason disappearing, and the work disappearing. And not only that, like when you do, if you go onto any website, and if you're an artist or new to uploading your art, when you do upload, you often get a chance to put tags in. That's an online thing. Even on your own website, you can put in tags, which you can put watercolor, hand painted. That area where you could people. So when people are searching, if they're looking for watercolor painting, and you put watercolor in your tags, they hopefully it will connect to you, and you'll be one of the choices that somebody's looking for. Um, Please excuse the way I'm doing this. However, I recently had an experience whereby I think my work went up and it came down, or it didn't upload, and I thought it was something that I possibly had done wrong. So I went to go over the process to make sure I'd gone through all the processes right, because sometimes if you put a wrong character in, I notice it doesn't upload, or so I thought I just made a mistake. And when I went to look at all the information that I'd put in to make sure I'd done it correctly, I saw a little word, just I think it was about maybe between 5 and 10 characters, but it wasn't in English. I can't recognize the language. I think it's more to do with Eastern European type languages, because it's special characters. It's not the usual alphabet, English alphabet, or even alphabet that other, it's just not the general alphabet used. And before I could even think to screenshot it, I just was like, well, what's this, and took it away and was just tablet, and I realised, oh my goodness, I should have screenshotted that. I don't know why this is happening. Like I said, I've been dealing with a lot of challenges for a long time with behaviours I can only describe as what are known as stalking type behaviours, and that also possibly complicated by phone hacking and things like that. I can't 100% confirm that, but that's what I feel I've experienced. So um, I'm hoping I'm going to make this video long enough so I can actually put it in different places. So if you are a genuine customer, please don't be put off. I mean, I'm trying to work on my art and try to educate myself. All my art has really been based in that it's such an angst area, because when you start something, and a lot of businesses, let's face it, start their businesses to solve a problem and solve an issue. Mine just happened to be a really personal problem that went over and affected my professional working life specifically, and as a business owner. Um, and somebody who self heals and is trying to develop themselves and return to better health. I hadn't always lived the way I've lived. I'll say a bit about that in a minute, but it's just important to try and deal with challenges the best you can. I'm sorry, that broke my thought and I went off a bit. Um, but because of the challenges that I faced, which is, I'm not just saying I'm the only one. No, I'm not. And I don't have the worst case scenario, thanks be to God. I'm just trying to deal with my share of what I've got the best way, and began my businesses not even really knowing what I was doing. I'm not even gonna lie. But I could see, I had a vision. Like, I knew when you create a business in itself is a product, and everything that you contribute to that builds the product. So I had enough business knowledge to know that, and to know to start a business. That you know managing projects and project management, I think for a lot of us, starts long before we even realize we're doing it. If you're a self-starter and you have interests and hobbies, and you could go out and not even go out, when you're a child. Like, once I started to learn to read and write, I grew up in a very creative um, household. My parents did everything to make sure we had instruments and things like that. So from then on, I used that, and I would create my own songs, and I was my parents made sure that we had guitar lessons. I wasn't so good at the piano lessons because there was a bit of a hand tapping going along with that if you got it wrong, and I just couldn't respond because there had been so much of that. But I found in guitar, specifically with guitar, it was not as challenging. So I would often make up songs and play along to the guitar. So those were my beginnings of learning. I know it's probably the worst thing to say when you're thinking about project management, things like that. But it just shows a lead up to really understanding about where things actually begin. So follow through can be difficult when you're trying to negotiate traumas and overcome certain things, but it's not impossible, because probably not shouted about enough is post-traumatic growth. That's something which has really been emphasised, and I've learnt more about as I studied at Amen University, which is something I think a lot of people do, and you don't realise you're doing it, and it's something that it has a double-edged sword. Like, if you uh, with people, and some people do not grow, like, everybody's going through a really difficult time, and some people can't have possibly more trauma or more difficulty seeing a way out of what they're going through. So a lot of times they also are experiencing post-traumatic growth, but can't recognize it as that, and they may recognize it more in somebody else and not in themselves. It can be challenging, and it can be a confrontational area, to overcome, as well as everything else you're overcoming. But I don't want to lose my train of thought, but I was just explaining where my work was coming from, and I'm just really grateful to be getting to a stage where I really want to work in a different ways. It's a slow process, finding courses and ways to learn that I understand a subject. Thankfully, I've been able to do that, and I'm looking forward to focusing on that. Even though there's a lot more to be focused on, and getting through things, learning how to really break down things in that work breakdown structure that you learn in project management, which I've just qualified in. I just completed. It's been personally helpful to me, which is really good. I know it's a very good career path to take for anybody going down that road, but certainly for me within my businesses, which is the first place where I wanted to apply it all, it has been good because I had struggles in that area which were not things that I had lived with for a long time. So even when I used to want to get up and get things done, I would get up and get it done. And I have had some struggles. And interestingly enough, you respond to behaviors and ways of doing things. Your environment is really key to how your brain will respond and operate, because I found going away from the environment when this place got too much and I spend too much time in here, which is my home, going away to somewhere where I'm just in a different surroundings and atmosphere helped me respond differently, infused me with a different level of energy and activity that I don't necessarily have here. So that's always good. It's a good checker to know that you still have got that in you. If you have lost your functionality to a degree, and you find that that often happens with domestic abuse, like when you have to go back into that place where you've been run down, just made to feel awful, and you can't keep up the place, which is like what's happened to me here. I've got not deep clean this place for it. It's so cluttered. Like today, I moved a bit and I could see the whole. I've got my whole. I was going to call it dashboard. I mean, I've got the mixer out, every gadget out. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's not been forever. But the irony of it, I lived my early life as a teenager after leaving home at the weight of somewhere between 7 to 7.5 stone to 8 stone. I never really went outside that for years. And when I was really at my lowest, which is around about 7 stone, I was so conscious, so self-conscious. I could barely keep clothes around my waist. It was everything I'd bought was too big, and it was just nightmare. Now, it has moved to 17, I think 17 to 18, so that's really bad, I mean, for me. But I mean, I don't mean to sound so awful, but it's just the irony. I don't even know what to call that transition. But it's a sobering thought, and of course, it's not something I wanted to get to that stage. I didn't mind when I was at when I was as low as 7 stone. Again, as a like I say, as a more of an older woman. Like I think I hit that stage when I was in my 30s. It was right about the time I was having a difficult domestic time, but I also was just about to go cold turkey with the smoke, because I'm an addict. I've been an addict on and off since I was 9, and not for anything hard stuff, but for tobacco. I smoked on and off since about the age of 9, and I eventually got to a stage where I was able to give it up. It was about 2002, but prior or around that time, my weight had dropped so badly, and I remember feeling so self-conscious that I went and ate even more sweets and stuff and sugar is another addiction for me, but to put on the weight, because I was just really self-conscious. And plus, in fashion in this society, I don't know if it's just in the UK, but people were just getting a bit plumper, and everybody was looking more shapely but fit. It wasn't, and I was just like, I really wish I had a bit more here and a bit more there, and and then I managed to put on a little bit of weight, but it still kept it steady until I was diagnosed with having I think I call it H. pylori, the bug in your stomach lining or whatever, and things went off the rails for a bit. But then I managed to claw it back. But in recent years, the stress of work and what was going on there just again ballooned. So it's really something to keep control over. So after telling you a bit about myself, because I have been putting my art up, and you know, I just have to say who I am and how I am, as much as I would like to be more together and really have it all, I snatch and everything. I did promise myself in my older age I would do everything I can to really pull my body back somewhere close to where it was. I do not like being skinny, but still you'd like to be at the healthiest place you could be, and I would really, God willing, hope I have the time to do that. So just to end this by saying thank you to all who have appreciated my work, visited my work, taken an interest in my work. I really appreciate it. I started out so self-conscious, so scared of what I was even doing and the way I was inspired to do what I do. My work is there is expressionism, so it's an extension of my diary writing. It's impressionism sometimes, because it was the only way a lot of times I knew how to heal from things like stalking events, or even things I can even identify with mobbing, incidents of mobbing and things like that. So, and that's why I love the work of Dr. Aim, and I have been listening on Spotify to change your brain every day. Admittedly, I don't have the concentration at the moment to sit and actually read everything I would love to read. But so listening sometimes is a way to still be able to enjoy. I love a good book, but sometimes I can't concentrate on it. So I'd be listening on Spotify, and it has been brilliant. I recently, if you can find me on TripAdvisor. I put my full name now, Lavinia Diego. Find me on TripAdvisor. You can see the little trips that I've taken, and I recently finally get my brain back. So talk about going away. If you're ever stuck in that domestic violence type of hole, or just your own function, really wanting to pull yourself together, and it's the menopause, or whether it's your diet, whatever health issue it is, and you sometimes that's the kind of persons I can relate to and speak to. If you're a person who has it all together and this seems like really obvious to you and something that you don't want to listen to, then this work isn't for you. But there are some people, and my heart goes out to, if you're in a situation you feel like you can't get out of it, and even though the door's just over there and you can't even get to it, and it's just excruciating to go through. Going out and being able just to travel. So I stayed in the UK, but I was able to travel up north, see family, and then finally my brain seems like it's opened, a bit, and I thought, well, let me just pop in here and pop in there on the way back. For me, it's a big thing. I mean, I travel in a sense for work because I'm a driver, so it's not that I'm not going places, but it's just different when it's personal. I get to go to a lot of industrial areas on really nice days, and I often wonder what the other side of the place was. So I was able to go to Scotland, visit Ayr Beach, which is a part of my name, but that's not where my name came from. But even though I went there, and I if you see on my TripAdvisor, I'd taken a picture of a monument near the palace. There's a palace near Ayr Beach, and it has Ayr written on it. Ayr is actually what my parents' name is, my first Christian name, and it's quite customary, specifically in the West Indies, in Grenada, which is where my parents are from, to take, excuse me for slurping up, but to take your first name and replace it with your surname. That is related to times during slavery, so that had become what do you call it? A kind of tradition to do, and my reason is also in line with that. So, the reason my parents named my name is because it is what do you call it? A variation of the term derrière, I think I've said it right, which also means last in French. It has two, I think it has, I haven't looked it up before saying this. So they made up my name at that point because they were hoping I was going to be their last child. I think that's what is, as far as I remember. So that was really interesting. It was a gorgeous beach. It's really nice to be on sand in the UK, first of all, but it was so lovely. And I even saw a Clydesdale being ridden quite far out to sea, so it's not that it wasn't that deep. But I walked from one end, which is kind of goes kind of marshy, and then I walked. I think I don't know if the beach is about a mile long or something, and I walked to the other end by the pier, and imagine different energies in different places. The pier where there's a port um, area. And as I was walking on the sand, of course, clever me didn't really think of all the different levels of sand, and I found myself sinking in the sand as I was walking. I was like, oh my god, this is quicksand. So that's how long it's been since I've been to the beach. But it's just really nice. It's, England's kind of rugged in a way, but it's just so lovely and historic and really well kept place. Troon the same. I went to Troon early hours in the morning. Well, 8 o'clock is quite early for me. Still managing my little thing. Had to have my ice cream cones. It was really beautiful, really beautiful. And I'd always wanted to. I've been to Blackpool area several times to deliver stuff, but to really go to the pleasure beach, but it was so hot and I was so tired because as much as I could keep going, you have to do things in moderation at this point in time. And I had gone quite a lot, and hot days are great, but they're really zap you and they're very exhausting, I find. So I tend to shade in the hot days and go out in the cooler days. But so it was that was really really nice. It's about 1900 now, I think, or a bit later here. So the lights going. And this is a bit of a moan on, but I just like to mark the fact that I had it had been my goal for so long to attend these support calls as part of my course, because I felt like I did the course, did what I carried on doing things that I needed to do. My life went in a complete opposite direction to where I wanted it to go. Um, that is when when I say I can identify mobbing. What I used to happen was all of a sudden, around about the same time, I had was going through the stresses. Well, it was yeah, right about the same time I started to take an interest in studying the course. Incidents of stalking, or I could better name it as mobbing, because what I was saying was that I was listening to Dr. Amon's book about changing brain every day, and he has, thank you, put in some chapters about, or a chapter or two about mobbing and the effect it had on him, and I'm so grateful because that's why I identified so much with his work, and it's like such a joy to have come this far, and even to think to go further, to just open my mind up and think you could do more and connect more. um, Around about the time of studying, making a choice to invest in the course, my other work as a driver, I couldn't get past a junction, even when I was coming home out of work. If I went through a cross junction, as I drove past and it was night time, the lights would just go like I'd look at the person behind me, they'll be flashing them, and it did happen to the car in front of me. But as soon as I got there, all hell breaks loose. People have got their headlights up at full blaze, and I will be going through this all through night at work. It has been, it has left me feeling absolutely physically sick at times. I set out to go to work and I'm fine, and then somebody come to drive beside you. They'll be like loitering beside you on the loitering beside the vehicle. At this point, I'm driving an HGV lorry, so the mirrors are big, so they will come up and bang their lights at the mirror, or they will just loiter beside the vehicle, and I'll be driving, I'll be feeling, fine, like I'm sitting here now, and then all of a sudden, I could start to feel some like energy kind of going like that, and like coming across, and then I'll be feeling nauseous, And it can go on to the point you can almost feel like you're losing consciousness. It has been, for me personally, I know it's a big word, it's not a word everybody wants, but it's been harrowing, absolutely sickening. And at various places this has gone on, so which is really concerning. So this is just like a really big update, because at the moment, every 5 years, the DVLA which is a driving licensing agency in the UK, take back your you have to reapply to continue to hold that license. And it has been trying to explain all things like that, the kind of conditions you're being forced to work under, has been a nightmare. It's worrying, but so I am trying. I take nothing for granted, you know. I try to. My own whole intention of doing my job is to do it safely and do it well. It's something I've always loved and enjoyed, and for the time that I've got to spend doing it, I would dearly like to grow and do more in a different area. Trying to pivot is not easy. It takes a lot of organized, applied effort, and my health hasn't always been up to it, but I'm working on it, and I'm just grateful for where I'm at. And I'm so grateful I can get away and respond to different places differently, because sometimes when you're dysfunctional in your own home, you know, it's easy for that to play into your self-confidence and your self-esteem, and you just think you're just worthless, and you know, you just won't be able to respond anywhere else or be accused of that. You know, if you're at home and you know you've got someone there who's just forever telling you no good, you're never going to get anywhere, blah, blah, blah. I went through all of that as I was a young girl and things like that. And, you know, to be able to go somewhere and have someone respond really positive to you and you feel really good about it, it is a really plus, because then it means that you are not what they're saying, and you know, you are not part and parcel. That there's a difference between what that person wants to throw at you and what you receive. You know, the lighting is going so bad here. Let me just be real and put this out here. Listen, people, you'll be able to catch me on some of my radio show. Will be setting up soon. You know, once you're doing one thing, you can't be doing another thing. So I've been doing lots of other things. So I'm just getting to each and every area of my business as I can get round of it. If you love a good moan or monologue, I hope you've enjoyed this. Do you love the trains, people? Take that train, honey, to your destiny. I need to do my videos, my music videos, because there's things that I could distribute. Been out of the music part of this thing for too long, where I intended to miss, like, I think about a year and a bit now. It's just time just goes so fast. Let me tell you, when you get the time to do your stuff, get onto it, innit? It's just all obvious stuff, but you know, when you're an artist and you've got your things out there, you know, sometimes people, you just put some information out there so people can hear from you. You know, you're real. Especially if you've got identity crisis around you. You know, people say you look like or they think they're coming after you for whatever. I don't know if I'd actually upload this. Really off-putting to me anyway, but listen, take care of yourself. Be good to yourselves, people. This is what I wanted to say as well. I thought, when I'd do a mash-up and see how this goes, is that, you know, life is really, I don't know if it's life or God or whoever your faith is, but one thing that I noticed was when I'm about to do something, like when I wanted to become a driver, would you believe, prior to wanting to go and try out lorry driving, I lost all my confidence with driving. I had been driving automatic for a while, could not get any confidence to change gears. I was terrified to drive this big old thing and be manual at the time, and you're going uphill and you don't get the bite right and you've got some big old truck. It's just like everything that I wanted to do went the opposite way again. This is before it happened again. But initially I was just like, how am I ever going to do this? And I'm like this now, like, how am I even going to get this done? All these different little parts of the business, how am I going to do it? How am I, which is really very normal. Excuse me, slurping again. Very, very normal for, you know, the kind of work that I'm doing. And it just occurred to me again. I was just like, the things I want to do, I just am losing confidence. Like, before I get to do something, I lose absolute confidence in being able to do it. Things I wanted to learn, like graphic design, for a long time I'd go onto YouTube, I'd try and listen to it, I cannot get get the concept, I can't grasp it, couldn't even sit through the whole thing, just too much distractibility. I never get it done, I never understand it. So it's really interesting pattern that can happen, that your information loses you and then you just achieve something. Like, I had the course for project management. I'd actually bought it. It's self-paced, so you do it when you like. There's nobody standing over your shoulders saying it should be done at any particular time. I'd actually bought it in 2023 to get it finished, and could not I could got through some chunks of it, only like 10 to 15 minutes about the most. Lessons less, some were like 37 minutes, 47 minutes in reality to actually process through that. It took me a 37, what is said to be a 37-minute part of the course, actually took me about an hour and a half in some cases to really be able to concentrate, go through notes, make sure I understood it, take notes. It was exceptionally long and very stressful to learn, but worth it, because there were just parts that I picked up on which I thought, I wish, I think for anybody who's been through any kind of challenges or abuse, learn crisis management. It seems like a no-brainer, but it's not something it ever occurred to me to learn when I was growing up. If I was to do it all again, I think if I came at that my parents' home the way I did, I would have gone straight, said to somebody, I need to train in crisis management so I could cope with what I'm going through. And in fact, I would have just asked to go and be trained in project management, because go using all of those processes to heal yourself is all adaptable. I found it incredibly interesting and very helpful to my self-healing prior to even using it to get things done in my business. So this is probably the worst looking video I've done so far. Take care, people. Thank you for listening here to me. My name is Lavinia Dier, reporting from the HD cell. Take care now. Bye.